Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And just like that, we're off. We're running another brand new live edition of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond. We're going to be with you until 9 a.m. on what will be a fantastic Thursday show. A lot of stuff to get to today. A lot of things are happening. A lot of things are fluid this morning. And that has a lot to do with the weather come tomorrow, as it is playing havoc with the high school football calendar. Several games are being moved from tomorrow night to tonight. That does include the Cotton Classic. Buckhorn traveling to Hazel Green. That game you'll be able to hear right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. As that one will get underway at 7 o'clock. That means you will have Hey Coach until 8 on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And then the Cotton Classic will come over the airwaves. But the good news is, if you download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app, click Zone 2, you'll be able to hear the entire game starting at kickoff. So that is just one of the many games that have been moved to Thursday night. Florence will welcome Austin, that one as well. Lee and Mae Jemison will meet at Milton Frank Stadium tonight. That'll be a 7 o'clock kick. Hartselle welcomes Columbia. Coleman welcomes our Team of the Week, Decatur, tonight. There are so many games tonight. Douglas will welcome Gunnersville. Crossville welcomes Boaz. If you're just kind of scrolling down the list, Priceville will welcome DAR. Madison County welcomes New Hope. Rogers welcomes Wilson. East Lawrence welcomes Deschler. West Morgan will travel to Central Florence. Brooks welcomes West Limestone. We can just go on. Brooks welcomes West Limestone. I mentioned that one. Brindley Mountain, who's posted 2 wins this season already, will welcome Vinemont. Piedmont welcomes Plainview. Hoax Bluff welcomes Geraldine. Tanner will welcome Falkville. Hatton welcomes Starktown. Sheffield, Red Bay. Pisgah, Collinsville. I know Whitesburg Christian Academy will have their hands full tonight with Fife. Decatur Heritage will welcome Coosa Christian. So plenty of games being moved from Friday to Thursday. Still plenty of games being played on Friday, including your game.
Yep. The Randolph Raiders are going to be over at Sports Med Field for a 4A Region 8 contest. They're going to host the North Jackson Chiefs and Coach Joe Hollis. So as far as we know, that game is still good to go and still ready to roll. And we're looking forward to the Raiders are on a 2-game winning streak, trying to make it 3 in a row. North Jackson had a tough outing last week at Westminster. Louis LeBlanc's team's off to a strong start, but certainly the Raiders are going to take the field Friday, and the Huntsville Crimson Panthers as well. They will be taking on James Clemens. So far, I believe that game is slated for Friday. So there are going to be a few for on Friday, and of course, a lot of that has to do with turf fields as well, having the right kind of surface to play on, with inclement weather being a factor. And so certainly we look forward to the call with the Raiders, and hopefully they can win their 3rd straight contest and go to 2-0 in 4A Region 8. And then if Louis LeBlanc and Westminster can continue their winning ways, it could be a battle of unbeatens.
All right.
In the region.
Yeah. A lot of great games tomorrow night. A lot of great games tonight. So Mother Nature doing her best to try to put a wrench in the schedule for Friday, but I think everybody's going to get these games in. And I tell you what, you wake up today and whoo, it felt good.
Yeah.
Felt really good out there.
Feels like fall weather, no doubt about it. A lot of football to talk today, and we're excited about it. We're excited about high school football here, and we'll have the Cotton Classic on our airwaves after the Nick Saban show. But as Scott said, if you download the app on Zone 2, you can listen to Buckhorn football tonight from start to finish, as they will be trying to win a huge rivalry. This is a long-standing series with Hazel Green and Buckhorn. Always close, always outstanding football. The Bucks trying to end that 2-game slide, and Hazel Green and Charlie Wilburn trying to win 3 in a row after their opening season loss to Sparkman. So it should be an interesting matchup.
They actually play for a trophy.
Yep.
With Cotton in it.
Yeah.
So When we say the Cotton Classic, we really mean the Cotton Classic. All right, so coming up on Saturday, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone, Alabama and Texas will face off with each other. And yesterday in their midweek press conference, Nick Saban finding out something apparently he didn't know.
We'll start with Michael. Clarified this offseason that the horns down hand gesture would be a penalty. Have you addressed that with the team going into this game?
What's that?
The horns down hand gesture could be a 15-yard penalty.
I have not addressed it with the team, but I appreciate you letting me know that. So, we got a lot of other things we need to really worry about. But I think that's a good thing for me to go over with the team, so I appreciate that.
I mean, I don't know why Alabama would be worried about a horns down. I mean, it's Oklahoma and Texas is a huge rivalry. Texas and Texas A&M, they won't kindle that until they officially join the SEC. I don't and I guess some of the Big 12 rivals at times do it, but they won't have to worry about that much longer because Texas is going to be gone out of the league. But again, I don't really think Alabama's players are going to be focusing on making sure to do a horns down, gesture. I know they've got several guys from Texas on the team,
right?
Like a
that
Jason
may
McClellan.
Fuel something may happen.
But I wouldn't think that'd be of huge importance. I mean, I think Alabama's focusing in on just trying to perform well and get a win against a talented opponent that is capable of hanging with them, no doubt. And if you're not on your game, they're capable of taking it to late in the fourth quarter. Now, if Alabama's focused, if Alabama plays clean football, Texas is going to get their tails kicked in.
All right,
but we'll see.
We know we're going to see Bryce Young. We know we're going to see Quinn Ewers. Bryce Young, coming out of high school, was number one in his class. Quinn Ewers, number one in his class as well as far as quarterbacks go. But did you know that they are two of the highest seven rated quarterback recruits in the 24/7 sports era, both Bryce Young and Quinn Ewers. And this is only the sixth time in college football history since they started keeping track of all these rankings via 27 Sports that this has ever happened in college football. In 2008, we got Mark Sanchez versus Jimmy Clausen. In 2009, we got Matt Barkley versus Terrell Pryor. In 2009, again, we got Matt Barkley and Jimmy Clausen. And then in 2019 and 2020, in the Fiesta Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, we got Justin Fields versus Trevor Lawrence. Not saying that Quinn Ewers is going to take over this ball game or anything, but it's still two of the highest rated quarterbacks coming out of high school to meet each other.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned all those names because most of them didn't amount to a tinker's dink in the pros.
No, they didn't.
They weren't very good at all.
Matt Barkley, Mark Sanchez.
Well, Barkley has been a long time backup, but I never thought he was that good at SC. I just thought he was okay. I mean, there's been a lot of QBs at USC that were overrated. We'll see if Lincoln Riley can change some of that. But
the verdict's still out, though, on Fields and Lawrence. We don't know.
No, we don't. I mean, because
they're only entering year two.
It's going to depend largely with Fields and Lawrence, and they were both really good college players.
Right.
If, how the organizations around them react and what they put around them. I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to have to put some talent around these, Trevor Lawrence, and the Bears are going to have to give Justin Fields some weapons. See, that's where these franchises fall way short. Miami's trying to rectify it by surrounding Tua with some weapons. You can't just assume the quarterback is going to solve all the problems. You have to give him an offensive line. You've got to give him weapons to utilize. I know that, and I've even talked about Bryce Young elevating receivers around him in Alabama, and I truly believe he can do that. I thought Peyton Manning did that, but they still have to have talent, and Peyton Manning still had Marvin Harrison, okay? You got to give him some guys that are going to tote the mail and make plays. You can't just assume that he's going to elevate everybody around him, or you get Andrew Luck with the Colts, who had a really good career, but got the ever-loving daylights beat out of him because his organization was a bunch of morons and didn't surround him with an offensive line or the right kind of skill players. So it has to be a collaborative effort. You have to build an offense around a guy. You can't just assume he's going to solve all your issues. So. But again, I think it's an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
Quinn Ewers didn't make any push for the job at Ohio State, and that's why he, bailed out, because I think he felt like he was never going to beat out C.J. Stroud, first of all, and I don't think there was any guarantees he was going to be the guy after Stroud. And so he decided to come back home. He had been committed to Texas once before, and, with Sark taking over there, he decided that he wanted to come back and play at Texas, and he was okay in his first start. We'll see, what happens against Alabama. Now, anything can happen because, the third-string quarterback at Auburn beat Alabama last year. He was when he was at Texas A&M, he played the game of his life and put balls where we've never seen him, before or since, and probably won't ever again. So, you just, in football, you never know. You have to, play well, play clean, and not let a team hang around. And certainly Texas is talented. They've got Xavier Worthy. They've got Bijan Robinson. And, Tony Tsoukalas asked Coach about Bijan yesterday. Bijan's talented. He's one of the most talented backs in the country. He may end up being a first-round pick. So the key to the game is going to be Alabama kind of containing those two guys, and the corners holding up. People keep asking about the corner competition, but that's going to be a key to the game. But also Alabama rushing the passer, because Quinn Ewers is not exactly Johnny Manziel.
No, this is his first really
He's
big,
not mobile
big game.
either.
He had one game last week against, what was it, Lam Monroe?
A little shorty.
Or whatever
against Louisiana Monroe.
This is really his first big foray into college football. He has not seen a Power 5 team. This is his first. It's only his second career start.
Yeah.
In this, and it comes against Alabama. Yes, he's got Bijan Robinson, but he's going to have his hands full. And we'll see if Alabama can pressure him and make him come off his spot, make him throws that he's uncomfortable with.
I'm sure that Sark was going to get rid of the ball quickly like Utah State did. We'll see, and we'll see how Alabama can combat that. And, Nick Saban kept talking about affecting the quarterback, and that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to, get in Ewers' grill a little bit, rattle him, and see if they can get him to turn the ball over, because he has turned the ball over in the preseason, and he turned the ball over once against Louisiana Monroe. So we'll see what happens.
All right, 256-576-4977. That is the number to get in on the program this morning. If you would like to, we kick off that with a little Alabama and Texas preview there. We'll keep going on and keep talking some more. Coming up on Saturday, you are going to get, let's see here, you're going to get some more college football coming up on Saturday. Really, while Alabama and Texas will get you underway 11 a.m., early start there in Austin, Texas, your other matchup in the SEC, and we had some ranked matchups. We got two of them really this weekend. 24th ranked Tennessee will travel to 17th ranked Pittsburgh. But then 12th ranked Florida, 20th ranked Kentucky. That is a big one. Florida right now a 6-point favorite at home over Kentucky. A game yesterday when we were talking about this one, we thought this was a game that, from a Kentucky perspective, they had to win this one. They need to win this one because of where they want to be as a program in the East. But Florida, we both said Florida would beat Utah last week. If you're on the Florida sidelines, you don't want to let down after coming out against Utah and getting that win at home. The fan base was already excited under Billy Napier. Now they're really excited. From a Florida perspective, how important is this game on Saturday?
Well, it's very important. It's the first SEC game. This will go a long way in deciding if Florida's a contender in the SEC East in year one under Billy Napier, if you can beat Kentucky, because it's kind of a three-dog race there. No disrespect to Missouri and Vanderbilt, who are off to nice starts, but I think no one's really expecting them to be contenders. We really don't know yet about South Carolina, but we strongly suspect that the Gamecocks are still building. But I think it's between Florida, Kentucky, and Tennessee as to who is the number 2 team behind Georgia. And I don't know if any of those three can challenge the Dogs. I doubt it, but that will be decided with these 3 teams competing against each other. And so this will be the first matchup. Kentucky traveling to the Swamp, where they haven't had a lot of success, but they've won 2 of the last 4 times against the Gators. So certainly that's after that just long losing streak that dated back to the 70s against Florida. They halted it, and so under Mark Stoops, that's one of the big accomplishments of this era under Mark Stoops with Kentucky is becoming much more competitive with Florida. Beating Tennessee a couple of times as well. So we'll see. I mean, Kentucky continues to get better. They continue to kind of fly under the radar with a lot of people. But are they going to take that next step and be a contender? Really, a couple years ago, they played Georgia with the East on the line, but it wasn't a competitive game. Georgia dominated that game, but they just kept plugging away. They keep recruiting. The recruiting's gotten better. Will Levis had a strong first game. Mark Stoops has, somewhat changed his philosophy, started throwing the ball more. And now, as we said, can be the winningest coach in Kentucky history if they get this win. So there's a lot at stake for both these squads. I know we're going to talk to Mark McLeod in just a little bit this hour and talk about this game, but I think it's not gotten a ton of buzz just because everybody's focused on Alabama and Texas and the 2 national brands, and even Pitt and Tennessee, because Pitt is a ranked team, did win the backyard brawl last week. Tennessee was very impressive against Ball State, but I think when you think about what Florida did, beating a solid Utah team in game 1 at home, and then Kentucky, Miami of Ohio is a solid program, but they took care of them. But now we get to see, is this Wildcat team, they got a lot of positive buzz in the offseason. How good are they? We don't know yet. And they're not going to have Chris Rodriguez, and you talked about the injuries they've already had to their backfield. Are they going to be able to still run the football in Florida? This is going to be interesting.
Kentucky does own one streak that is the longest in the country, by the way.
Yeah.
They have won 17 straight. Now, this is not a non-conference game, but with their win this past Saturday, Kentucky has won 17 straight non-conference games since 2018. It's the longest streak in the nation.
I mean, that's a heck of an accomplishment by Mark Stoops, because when he took over the program, they were in such rough shape. And, I mean, I just think that he's done a remarkable job making them a consistent bowl contender, and they win bowl games. Now, the hardest step is to become a national contender.
Yeah.
Can they do that? Can they become a program that threatens to win the SEC?
Well, since 2015, they have gone 9-12 against ranked teams. So,
but that's competitive, though.
That is being competitive, yes. Those wins, though, have come against number 17 Iowa, number 10 Florida in 2021. So they have beaten Florida ranked. 23rd ranked NC State back in 2020. 18th ranked Tennessee in 2020. You look at all those results, they all come around 2020, 2021. When Mark Stoops has gotten this program trending upwards in the right direction.
Certainly has.
Yeah. But Kentucky's last win over a ranked SEC team came last year, 2021, against 10th ranked Florida, when they upset them 20-13. Their last win over a ranked SEC opponent comes back in October 17 of 2020, when they got a win over Tennessee. So,
yeah, that was kind of the key to that season. It was a rough one for Kentucky because of the COVID situation, but they did go to Knoxville, and that was really the undoing for Jeremy Pruitt. They just embarrassed the Vols up over there, and really that was probably their signature win of that year.
All right, so coming up on Saturday, it's just the second time that both teams in the Florida-Kentucky matchup will head into the matchup ranked. When we come back, we will get a preview from the Florida perspective. Mark McLeod joins us next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck at Holmes and Pulaski Pike. They're reporting that one as an injury type. Everything else moving along nicely. Heavy traffic load this morning. You be careful as you make your trip in. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality.
Coach, how's this year's lineup looking?
It's looking great. We got a lot of MVVs and they are looking outstanding. Next.
Yes, what about trades?
Ma'am, you know University Kia always gives up to $5,000 of a KBB trade-in value. Right now, get up to $5,000 over Kelly Blue Book fair market value for any trade at University Kia. New 2022 Kia K5s are just $199 per month. Plus, we want to buy your car. Scan the QR code to see what your car's worth. Only at University Kia.
Listen up, sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for a 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com or call 1-800-99-BET-US and get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
Roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Florida does play host to Kentucky in Gainesville on Saturday. It's the 35th time, 73rd all-time meeting between the two programs. Kentucky has won 33 of the last, Florida has won 33 of the last 35 meetings in the series, including 20 of the last 21 home matchups in the Swamp. Overall, Florida is 53-19 against the Wildcats, 29-5 all-time at home. But as we said, last year it was Kentucky's year for a win in the series. And these two teams come in ranked, and that is not very often that this has happened in the series.
No, I mean, it's because of Kentucky's improvement. And then we've seen Florida with their big upset of Utah, and I didn't think it was a big one because I predicted it, but they've gone from unranked to ranked 12th in the country. And Anthony Richardson in his debut as the starting quarterback was really amazing. 17 of 24, 168. But then, of course, the element of his legs: 11 rushes, 106, and 3 touchdowns, including a long run of 45 yards. And then really electric play, a 360 kind of spin where he spun away from a defender and then threw a touchdown pass. The young man, we've been waiting to see him as the starting quarterback of Florida. And that first chapter was really amazing as far as the full-time starter. He did start last year some for the Gators, but it's now his football team. And we saw this last Saturday in the Swamp. It was an electric environment. It was really the game of the day in the SEC. As the Gators were a rare underdog, and they win the game though, 29-26. And now this tough early schedule continues as they open SEC play in the Swamp against the Kentucky Wildcats. And our next guest, he has his daily radio program, The Blitz, on WFOY Radio, also the Gridiron Growl podcast, and I've been honored to be a part of that, and also the Gator Blitz. And it's always great to catch up with our next guest, Mark McLeod, who's with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Mark, welcome back to Huntsville. You were Drew and Scott. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Always good to be on with you.
Yeah, great to be on with you, man. I saw your tweet about the Swamp being electric. What an environment, obviously, that it was this past Saturday in Billy Napier's first game.
It really was. And they faltered down the end of the Mullen era, so you didn't see those types of environments. The last environment I recall like that, Drew, was probably the Auburn game a few years ago when Gus Malzahn came to the podium in the postgame and said that's the loudest environment, loudest game I've ever been in my entire life. And you got to believe part of that was a little poke at Alabama fans, but it was unbelievable. It really was. And the Utah fans, it's been fun to look on Twitter and other areas of social media and see what they thought of it. And one guy said, "Hey, I didn't get to go to the game. Rank the stadium and the Swamp." And the guy who was there said, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 12.
Well, albeit aside, I mean, it was the play, though, of Florida that gave them a reason to be loud. I mean, Anthony Richardson at quarterback came out, and he performed like we thought we might see Anthony Richardson perform, and gave a lot of reason for the preseason hype around him.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Scott. I mean, look, this guy's got a cannon for an arm, and he's 6'5", 238. He can really move. It's hard to get a good shot on him. He's got that great length that coaches love. got tremendous speed for a guy his size, and he just really is a very difficult guy to manage. And if you're trying to get the sack, as we saw in the Utah game, and we saw a few times last year, certainly, it's tough to get this guy wrapped up and bring him down. Even when you get a hand on him, and he can still throw the ball and make a play.
Yeah, he really can. He can definitely improvise. He had a really special night the other night, and then Florida ran the ball well, not just with Richardson, but they were able to be balanced. Johnson had 75. You saw Etienne get 64, and that's kind of been flying under the radar that Travis Etienne's brother ends up a Gator, 64 yards rushing. But they kind of used a three-headed monster too, because Naquan Wright got 10 carries. Talk about what you saw out of that running game, how multifaceted it was.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Drew, because offensive line play at Florida, they've been a bit maligned.
Yeah.
They just haven't played that well. And now we finally have an offensive line, it looks like, that against a very good Utah defensive front that was able to get a push, get some things going. They ran for 287 or 283 yards in the game. 4 touchdowns, 3 of them by Richardson, and just really looked good in terms of that as well as pass protection. I mean, Utah ran several blitz schemes. They bring guys off the corner. They delay blitz. They tried different things and throwing at that Florida offensive line, and the Gators just responded and did a really good job.
Well, you look ahead, and Saturday you do get that Kentucky-Florida matchup, and this was one of those games last year that really kind of, I guess you could say, just kept putting the air out of Dan Mullen's sail as not coming back for a Florida head coach, losing to Kentucky in Lexington. How much do this group of Florida Gators want this game on Saturday?
I think most of the players in the post-game Saturday night and Monday in the presser mentioned, well, we got Kentucky coming up. We can't celebrate this too long. Sunday, when we report back Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, it's to get to business on Kentucky because those guys beat us last year. So it's not lost on the players. I guarantee you Napier and the team will not let them forget that. Obviously, the key is, can this team put that Utah win behind them? Do they have the maturity to do that and move on to the Kentucky game? I think that's going to be big. But I think the crowd in the Swamp, they show up again, another 7 o'clock game. And if they bring it, I think that'll help these guys put that Utah game behind them and focus on what's at hand.
Well, and what were your thoughts after you saw this Gator defense? I know it was maligned the last few years under Todd Grantham. Yeah. Cam Rising, though, a talented dual-threat quarterback, gave him some issues. They did give up, over 230 yards rushing to the Utes. And we know Kentucky's known for being physical. Now, they've got some injuries to their backfield. They have a quarterback in Will Levis that I know they're high on. But just give your initial thoughts on the Gators' defense, though, kind of matching up with Kentucky.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done there. I think the positives are this. What we've heard the past couple years, specifically with Todd Grantham and the Gators defense is, well, look, that's more of a finesse group than they are a physical group. And you can make that argument without a doubt. But I think what we saw Saturday night was a group that's going to play a lot more physical. You saw a really strong play by the inside linebackers in Amari Burney and Ventrell Miller. I thought they played a very good game. I thought the guys on the back end of the defense, for the most part, did a nice job. No sacks by Florida. Now, granted, that was a veteran Utah offensive line, but this week against Kentucky, they're going up against an offensive line that, look, Eric Wolford, he's in Tuscaloosa now, coaching them up. So you have a new offensive line coach, and you have an offensive line where 4 new faces on that line because of an injury to one other guy, Kenneth Horsey. And then they had a 5th guy who, Eli Cox, who was started at offensive guard but is now the center. So a lot of lot of issues with the Kentucky offensive line. You had Will Levis, who was sacked 4 times by Miami of Ohio. And when you look at what they're able to do in the run game, it was really pathetic. 50 yards rushing against Miami of Ohio.
Yeah.
And as you said, Drew, they're short on running backs. They lost 2 backs in that game, in addition to Chris Rodriguez, who's suspended. So it's a tough situation at Kentucky. Mark Stoops believes they can get it fixed, but I want to see how that's going to play out in front of a Swamp crowd that is going to be awfully loud. And let me add one more thing: that Miami of Ohio defense, they only returned 5 starters from a year ago. Only one guy made first or second team All Mid-American Conference preseason team. So this is not a defense that was real good, but they were able to get to Levis and make some things happen.
Florida looked good against Utah, but it is year 1 against Billy Napier. There's still a lot of growing to do. There's still a lot of people that need to learn the system and still kind of get used to everything there in a Gator uniform. Is that as good as what Florida could look on Saturday, or still can they climb it even better?
I think they can look a lot better. You know, it's interesting because Billy Napier came to the coaches' teleconference yesterday and said, we have a lot of crap to clean up. And they do. They have a lot of work to do. He's mentioned that several times since that Utah win. But I think the key for Florida fans and for media alike to kind of look at is Florida has to stay healthy. Because of the poor recruiting with Dan Mullen, the depth on this team is not as good as it should be for an SEC team the caliber of Florida. So I think that's going to be one thing to watch down the road. This team has to stay healthy. They didn't rotate as much as we've seen them rotate in the past on the defensive side of the ball specifically. I think, Scott, they just really have to get some of those younger guys ready and get them up to speed. I think that's just going to be a bit of a work in progress.
Yeah, and what did you think of the passing game overall? Certainly they ran the football well. We knew about Anthony Richardson's athleticism and what he could bring to the table with his legs. The transfer from Arizona State, Ricky Pearsall, leads the way in receiving, but the passing game overall against Utah, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's work to be done there, Drew. I really do, and I'm glad you brought that up because, yeah, Pearsall looks like an potential all-SEC receiver. He could make that first, second, or third team maybe, but he looks good. I mean, you can tell he runs his routes. He knows he knows how to work the zone and to sit down in there. Xavier Henderson, I think, stepped up and did a few nice things for Florida. We've seen Justin Shorter before, but I do think there's a lot of development that needs to be done there. And then certainly you have one catch by a tight end, and that was Keon Zipper, who had 1 catch for 7 yards. The backs had 3 catches out of the backfield, but again, a lot of work to be done in this passing game over the next 2 weeks.
No question. And then I was half joking. I know we talked about defensively how they played. You mentioned, and it's huge to have Ventrell Miller back. I know with his injury situation, I know that hurt Florida a year ago. They got Ro Torrance in the transfer portal. But I was joking and thinking to myself when I saw that he had a game-high 12 tackles, is Trey Dean going to apply for Social Security soon?
He couldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he's been there forever.
Yeah. Mark Stoops even said that on his presser Monday.
Yeah.
He said, Trey Dean, he goes, man, that guy just seems like he's been there. He goes, I remember recruiting that guy a long time ago,
Yeah.
But, yeah. And look, he's had an up-and-down career. He really has. He needs to have a good showing this year, and get some NFL hope out there. Look, Brenton Cox Jr. had a terrific game for the Gators, too. Co-SEC Defensive Player of the Week. And, here's a guy who's done some good things at Florida, but really needs to step up his game, and he changed his life by changing his diet and getting himself in better shape, slimming down a little bit, and so he played faster and quicker. And thus far in Game 1, it was a tremendous opportunity for him to get out there and show people what he's done.
Well, ultimately, at the end, do you like Florida at home in this one on Saturday?
I do, Scott. I think this team would be ready to go. You suffered an injury with a long snapper, so you've got to have a replacement there. But outside of that, they came out of the game healthy, and they played so physical and played fast, and I think that they'll be ready for Kentucky.
Well, and Mark, what is this going to mean if they could start 2-0? I mean, we talked about this with you a few weeks ago, and of course in Atlanta for SEC Media Days. 3 of these first 4 games were really tough: Utah, Kentucky, and then at Tennessee after the game against USF. But how big would this be? Scott mentioned it before you came on with us for Kentucky. Coming to the Swamp. If Florida can get this win and be 1-0 in the SEC, 2-0 overall with a win over the perceived favorite in the Pac-12, the defending champion, what would this mean to Billy Napier and the Gators? And does it totally change, maybe the expectation for this season in the SEC?
Yeah, it does. I think they beat Kentucky, guys, and USF. That's going to be a win,
right?
I think we all could agree on that, barring some catastrophe. But then Tennessee's your next game. Eastern Washington, Missouri, LSU. Look, they could be a undefeated or one-loss team going into the Georgia game, which I think preseason none of us saw coming.
No, that would be correct. Yes.
Yeah. It's big. It's big for Florida.
There's no question about it. And in your mind, I know you've been studying Kentucky. You told us some of the things that they were deficient at against Miami of Ohio, but you always kind of try to see the most improvement from game 1 to game 2 for Kentucky and for Florida. But what are going to be some of the keys in your mind for the Gators to get a win in the Swamp?
I think Florida's offensive line, again, has to do what they did last week and just go play and take care. And, look, they beat the Utah defensive line. They beat them. I mean, when you are able to do what they did, protect Richardson for the most part, no sacks by Utah, and then run for the way they did, I think that's a huge key for Florida. Richardson has to be Richardson. And then defensively, Florida surrendered 142 yards and 7 points in the fourth quarter. They've got to do a better job of closing out the game. And that may mean more guys in the rotation because it was awfully hot and muggy out there. But, that's something that you want to see cleaned up. Tackling has to be better across the board. But they've got to manage Will Levis and keep him and Tavion Robinson from connecting and producing any big plays.
No question. Well, I know it was a good birthday present for you in the Swamp last Saturday. We'll see what happens coming up this Saturday afternoon in the Swamp as the Gators in Kentucky are getting ready to hook up. And I will say, as we were on our journey home, it was a smooth journey for Brett Beard and I, but we were lamenting that we missed Mick Huber and how if he would have lost his mind at the end of that game when the Gators got the interception in the end zone.
Yeah, he would have. That would have been one. That would have been one that made ESPN. He would have lost it. That's for sure.
No doubt. Well, and let me correct myself. It will be a night kickoff, so it'll be very interesting. A 6 p.m. Central Time kickoff for the Gators against Kentucky, and we're looking forward to that. Well, Mark, thank you for the time and the insight into Florida. Billy Napier, huge 1-0 start. Trying to start 2-0, which would be, I think, massive for the Gators. It's already having, I think, a positive effect on recruiting. No question about that. But we always appreciate the time and let everybody know how to connect with you in your show.
Yeah, 1021news.com at 4 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Friday. And certainly on the Gator Blitz podcast, which I'll have another one out in the morning.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, guys. Always good to be on with you.
All right, Mark McLeod with us. Let's get a break in. We come back, wrap up Hour 1, Talking Ball.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck at Holmes and Pulaski Pike. They're reporting that one as an injury type. Everything else moving along nicely. Heavy traffic load this morning. You be careful as you make your trip in. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
Do you know that your car or truck or SUV may be worth up to 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and now is the perfect time to trade in, trade up to a gold certified or blue certified pre-owned car, truck, SUV, or crossover. While our new vehicle inventory continues to build back, our Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicles are nearing 100 models to choose from, and a good variety too. Woody Anderson Ford Gold certified vehicles are 6 years or younger with less than 80,000 miles and have passed 172-point inspection by factory certified technicians. They have a 14-day, 1,000-mile money-back guarantee, a great comprehensive limited warranty, 24-hour roadside assistance, and go home with full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Get nearly a new ride and none of the worries. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan Spartman, hope to see you soon.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TAXI for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TAXI for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TAXI.
Listen up, sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for a 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com or call 1-800-99-BET-US and get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
Coach, how's this year's lineup looking?
It's looking great. We got a lot of MVVs and they are looking outstanding. Next.
Yes, what about trades?
Ma'am, you know University Kia always gives up to $5,000 of a KBB trade-in value. Right now, get up to $5,000 of a Kelly Blue Book fair market value for any trade at University Kia. New 2022 Kia K5s are just $199 per month. Plus, we want to buy your car. Scan the QR code to see what your car's worth. Only at University Kia.
exactly what I do and what I am.
Dan, I know the attorneys at Stanton Law Firm are regular listeners, and we plan to have you on periodically. You and I have seen have impacted this community.
Stay tuned, and you may hear about friends like Steve Booker, Clarence Johnson, Thomas Boyd, and even a few of those offensive line hogs like Hoss Johnson, and maybe you remember some other of those guys too.
I remember Clarence Johnson. He beat us one year. He was unbelievable.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
The best in local sports talk from the 256. We are local.
When you're number one, you don't have to worry.
We are award-winning. Thank you for listening. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You'll be set for life.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
This time last week, we were getting you ready for the opening night, really, of college football in full force. It was 5 straight days of college football getting you ready last Thursday. Today, we don't have college football tonight because it's the opening night of the NFL season. The LA Rams play host to the Buffalo Bills. They're going to raise that Super Bowl banner in LA at SoFi Stadium. The Rams come in 2.5-point underdogs in this one to the Bills.
And the Bills are the favorite for the Super Bowl with a lot of people.
How about that? How about that? Got to go all the way back to the good old Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas.
And remember, they've never won a Super Bowl in Buffalo, which would be quite an accomplishment.
5 Super Bowls, right? Is it 5?
4. They lost all 4 of them.
I thought they were there last year.
No, they didn't get there. The Rams won the Super Bowl over the Chiefs, I believe.
That's right. You're right. So it is still 4 Super Bowls. 4 straight.
It was 4 straight, and they lost them all, unfortunately. And it was pretty crushing that they lost to the Giants with the Scott Norwood wide 47-yarder.
And then got drilled by the Cowboys a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I believe.
Well, really, they came close to winning the first Super Bowl, and then the other 3 were shellackings.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But they did make it.
Still have one of the greatest comebacks against the Houston Oilers.
Oh, yeah. That was Frank Reich.
Yeah.
In his moment in time.
256-576-4977. Yeah, NFL football gets underway tonight. And, of course, you got plenty of high school football. So a lot of good stuff going on. And then tomorrow night, high school football. Saturday, then another full day of college football. Lewis is with us this morning. Good morning, Lewis.
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing well, man.
It's all right. It was actually the Bengals.
You're right.
It was the Bengals.
You're right, Joe Burrow. I can't believe we forgot that.
Yeah.
Shows how much I pay attention to the NFL at times. But, yeah, you're right. Because the year before, the Chiefs lost. Yeah. Or did they win?
Boy. You said what?
I can't even remember. I guess the Chiefs won the Super Bowl the year before.
No, it was
they lost the Bucs. Yeah, 2 years ago the Chiefs win. Thank you, Smokey. And then Tom Brady wins in his first year in Tampa, and then this past year the Rams win their first. Matt Stafford gets it, and they beat the Bengals because the Bengals weren't supposed to be there. Matter of fact, a lot of people thought Buffalo was going to get to the Super Bowl last year, but Joe Burrow led an amazing postseason run, and honestly, it was a good Super Bowl. I mean, they had a chance to win the game. So you're right, Joe Burrow. Yep.
It was weird how it played out, but they made it. And a little fun fact for that whole NFL playoffs, LSU had more players participating in the NFL playoffs than anybody that year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes. But I heard y'all, and I had to correct that. It was the Bengals.
Yeah, it was the Bengals. You're right.
No, you're right.
He came through with it.
Yep.
But I'm listening. You guys stay tuned, man, and we're going to see what's up with college come Saturday.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh,
man.
yeah, there's going to
Lewis.
be some good games on Saturday. I mean, you just look around, and we'll do a lot of this tomorrow, but you look around on Saturday, Arkansas welcomes South Carolina to get ready in SEC play. I mean, can Arkansas avoid a letdown coming off that nice win over a ranked Cincinnati team, a hard-fought win? We still don't know a lot about South Carolina, and what they're going to bring. I mean, they opened the season last week against a win, over-dominating their opponent. But what is South Carolina going to bring to the table in their SEC opener?
Yeah, we don't know.
You're right about that. I think Arkansas is going to win that game. Who is it? Appalachian State. Who played?
Texas A&M. App State plays on Saturday. Now, it was North Carolina, App State this past Saturday.
Yep.
124.
How do you feel about that game?
I don't know. If I'm Texas A&M, I'm a little nervous.
Well, I watched that last play of that North Carolina game, and the way that special teams got run over, like just destroyed. I was like, if Texas A&M have any size on them, they should be all right.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if the check's clear.
I know how you feel about Texas A&M.
Yeah.
So
see how hard they play.
But,
I haven't seen the over-under on that one.
I haven't either.
Because I can't stand them either. Since we had that game where we went in like 5 overtimes. They did their best to cheat us out that game, the LSU game. Yeah, like 3-4 years ago.
That was, 7? No, was it 7 overtimes?
Yeah, it was the longest.
Yeah. It's the reason why. It's one of the reasons why they changed the overtime rule in college football. That was one of the games.
2-point conversions.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Lewis. Thanks for the phone call. We are up against our number
it's hard to believe
one.
That was 3 years ago, though. Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers, they blow that lead, and the Chiefs beat them. Then the Chiefs come back, lose to the Bucs.
Right.
And then this past year, as we said, the Rams beat the Bengals. But see, it changes narratives, too, because Jimmy Garoppolo is now a backup to Trey Lance, where if he'd won the Super Bowl, he would still have the job almost guaranteed. But Kyle Shanahan tends to choke on Super Bowls.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when he has a lead.
Especially, 28-3. Never get over that one.
A little salty still, huh?
Yeah, putrid.
All right, let's get our break in.
But at least Julio switched to number 6. He's not wearing 85 anymore for the Bucs.
No, he did change. That's because they got rid of people that were probably wearing that number.
Probably.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck at Holmes and Pulaski Pike. That one's got serious injury involved, so they're going to do a full investigation on that accident. Everything else seems to be moving along in pretty good shape this morning. Heavy traffic load, though. You be careful on your ride in. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A beautiful Thursday afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. A mostly to partly sunny sky, temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s. I don't think it's going to be as humid this afternoon as it has been over the last couple of days. Not really any rain in the forecast this afternoon either. Enjoy Thursday while you can because everything goes downhill as we head into Friday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms through Friday afternoon and Friday evening. Activity only becomes more widespread the later we get. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tonight, the NFL returns for the 2022 season. The Buffalo Bills at the LA Rams. Buffalo a 2.5-point road favorite. They're a plus 550 favorite to win the Super Bowl this season. The Bucks at plus 750. The Chiefs and Packers each at plus 1,000, and the Rams at plus 1,200. The Major League Baseball regular season beginning to wind down. MVP races appear down to Paul Goldschmidt at minus 2,000 in the National League, ahead of Nolan Arenado at plus 1,600. In the AL, Aaron Judge a heavy favorite minus 900. Shohei Ohtani plus 500. Red Hot winning picks at experts.winnersandwiners.com. Save 75% on any best bet package with the promo code ACTION75. That's ACTION75 at experts.winnersandwiners.com.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. A lot of great college football being played coming up this weekend, and as Hall of Fame and legendary head coach Hayden Fry, see, I got to work this in.
Yeah.
He used to say, there's nothing better than a high porch picnic.
A high porch picnic, huh?
That means the games have a higher importance.
Okay.
A higher importance to them.
Yeah.
And there are some around the country, and even in the SEC, where there's some high porch picnic games going on this weekend.
Well, our next guest was at a high porch picnic game last Saturday. It was going to be his first trip to Fayetteville, Arkansas, and I thought it was under the radar. People were talking about, Florida and Utah, and it was a great game, but I thought this was a great game as well. I think it proved that Cincinnati is definitely a program to stay, and what Luke Fickell's doing is outstanding, but also Arkansas has got a really good football team. But you can hear him live on his YouTube channel, and it's, of course, the Late Kick Live show on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, and also his Late Kick podcast. But he's one of our favorite people, and it's Josh Pate's going to be with us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Josh, how was Fayetteville, man? Welcome back to Huntsville.
It was really good. I appreciate you guys having me. I actually skipped a family reunion for a high porch picnic, and that's the way I'm going to write it in my journal.
There you go. Yeah, Hayden Friday. That's just, he is like, that was my coach. That's the coach I grew up with. So, I remember a lot of those little anecdotes that he used to say. But we talk about Sam Pittman a lot. They didn't disappoint on Saturday.
It was a heck of a game.
Cincinnati, yeah.
Well, the entertainment value didn't disappoint. I was kind of around the team after the game a little bit. They were far less than pleased with the way they played, but then in the very next breath, everyone around Arkansas football remembers to say, but we remember San Jose State, we remember North Texas, we remember Western Kentucky, and they have lost to all these teams in the past few years at home. For those unfamiliar, Colorado State, go ahead and add them in for good measure. So they were appreciative, but, they looked around and said, man, there were a ton of mistakes in this game. Now, Cincinnati could rightfully say the same thing. So it was classic Week 1 college football. It was a mistake-filled game. There were a couple of injuries, big ones, I think, for Arkansas. Guys, I don't think they'll get back this week at defensive back, which is why I like some points in that South Carolina game, by the way. So I watched it, and I thought to myself, good for Cincinnati in a loss, because it validates their program every time they're able to do something like that. And then for Arkansas, I thought to myself, it's a good starting point. I don't think we have seen anywhere close to the complete product of what that team is going to be this year. And I said that about a dozen or more teams in Week 1.
Very interesting. And so, with what you saw out of the Hogs, and you just get clued us in on a couple of the injuries in the secondary. Is this game a dangerous one against the Gamecocks?
Sure, it is. It's a single-digit spread. You've got a team in South Carolina that got a far more quality win in Week 1 than I think people realize. They just saw Georgia State, and they said, all right, that's a cream puff, you should smoke them. And Georgia State is not a cream puff. They may win the Sun Belt. The line was under 2 touchdowns, so Carolina took care of it. They covered. Really good special teams afternoon for them. And there is a lot of questioning South Carolina's offensive line right now. It's all people have talked about around the program this week, so much so that the receivers and quarterback have had to step up and defend the offensive line. What we've seen for years and years and years is, as I said the other night, Mimos says, make observations in week one. Do not make conclusions in week one. A lot of people are, I think, making conclusions out there that this South Carolina team, it's going to be pretty inept offensively. They won't be able to protect Spencer Rattler, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying they're about to put 5 All-Americans on the offensive line in front of them over the span of 1 week. What I am saying is I think their offensive product will be a little more consistent this week. I think it's the right time for them to face Arkansas, even though it's early in the year. They get an early kick in Fayetteville.
It's true.
That place will not be, I don't think, as juiced as it was last week. And they get a chance to atone for a subpar offensive performance 6 days later. So, yeah, I think that both of them will put points on the board. I think that thing's going into the 60s. The total's 52.5. I think it's going into the 60s.
So making observations, not conclusions, how do we look at Georgia then? I mean, do we make an observation that Oregon was just, really too hyped?
Going through a transition.
Yeah, going through a transition, and Georgia's good, or is Georgia really that good, or how do we look at that?
Well, was it last year when Alabama opened against Miami in Atlanta?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember how methodical and machine-like they looked and just eviscerating Miami?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because the talk after that was there is no team on this planet capable of hanging with them. And it wasn't necessarily true. It was just that they didn't face a team that opening weekend that was built to really expose any of the flaws they had. We saw them go on the road a couple of weeks later and almost lose to Florida. We saw them lose to Texas A&M. We saw them struggle to put a touchdown on the board until late in the fourth quarter of the Iron Bowl. So we saw these things, but Miami didn't expose it in week one. It very well could be that Georgia still has a flaw or two or three that could be exposed down the road. It's just that Oregon was in no position to expose it themselves. I thought that from a staff perspective, it was about as thoroughly outcoached as you'll see a major program this year. And that's not a knock on Dan Lanning. Quite frankly, that's the way it should work out. It shouldn't be like Billy Napier at Florida, where even though he's facing a tenured staff in Utah and he's brand new, they match up very well with him. That's extraordinary. It's ordinary to get circles run around you against a superior staff. So I think you can conclude there aren't very many teams that could touch Georgia when they bring their A game. There may only be one or two of them out there. That's the case most every year now with those few programs. But I don't think that Georgia's going to ride a wave of 4 touchdown victories all the way to Atlanta. There will be the typical ups and downs. It doesn't have to coincide with losses. It could just be close wins. But there'll come a time this year, maybe as soon as later this month, who knows, where you look at them and say, all right, well, now we get a sense there may be some vulnerability there somewhere.
Well, and now we're talking to Josh Pate, Late Kick Live, Late Kick Podcast, part of 24/7 Sports. Josh, I know you posed this question yesterday on your Twitter account. How many points is it going to take for Texas to beat Alabama? What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, the number I arrived at is 35. That's the starting point for them. And if Texas were to win the game with 35 points on the board, that probably means you've had turnover benefit, you've had special teams benefit, you've probably somehow limited Alabama in the red zone to some threes instead of sevens. So that's the best-case scenario for them, I think. The more realistic is if they were to win it and they're facing Alabama's B-plus game or better, you're talking about a game into the 40s, and I don't know how that would turn out. So the couple of things that I look at for them, if they're going to keep it close, if this were to be a game in the fourth quarter, is I think they have to do a really, really good job of getting the ball on the perimeter very quickly. Sark has done this a few times. We've seen teams do it against Alabama a number of times. Malzahn started off an Iron Bowl one year. I think it was that 2017 game where they just threw quick screens and quick passes to receivers about half a dozen times to start the game because they were so adamant they weren't going to let Alabama's front seven take over the game. I know that Sark understands his limitations on his offensive line. It's not like they're about to run into the teeth of the Alabama defense or call 7-step drop, long developing deep combo routes. That's not what you're going to see Saturday. And so you're not going to see Will Anderson with 10 sacks on the board. What you're going to see is them try to get the ball out in space very quickly. I also think that Devontae Smith role, if anyone can play that for one Saturday, it would be Xavier Worthy at Texas. And for that reason, I think for them to win, he has to have a very, very abnormal-looking stat line. I'm talking about like 15 touches, the kind of stat line you saw Devontae have against Ohio State in the national title game, and he didn't even play for the second half because he was injured. But that kind of box score is probably what you have to have with him. Even having said that, though, guys, there is so much that has to go right for them. It's not impossible, but everything has to go right for them. And if they can do that and somehow be aggressive but also play relatively turnover-free football, then you can have a four-quarter game. But there are far more scenarios where that stadium's halfway empty in the fourth quarter than there are it's a close game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and if it is end up that way, where that stadium is half empty and Alabama is completely dominating this ball game, what was the Texas fan base going to say about Steve Sarkisian after this one?
Well, I would look at pregame right now. I know people don't think like this, but I would look at pregame, and I would see Bama's favored by nearly 3 touchdowns in my own building. Do I think that's fair? And I would answer, yeah, given where these two teams are, I think that's fair. So if I'm willing to admit that going in, and then Alabama beats us comfortably, I should not sound any different after the game than I do before the game. Now, this is the kind of thing that a non-college football, logical thinking, well-reasoned person would tell a hardcore college football fan, and the hardcore college football fan would be arrested for physical assault. I know how this will work, but you're asking how should it work. How it should work is understanding you're watching a machine come in, and you're still putting the parts together on yours, and you're still trying to figure out the instruction manual. So if you were to pull the upset, I mean, celebrate until the end of time. But if you get beat thoroughly, it's not the end of the world. How you handle it afterwards is what determines how good your staff is. Last year, Sark's big knock against himself was, I never was able to get our team back after the Oklahoma loss. So Oklahoma, in their opinion, beat them several times. Well, you can't let Alabama beat you several times, but yet we've seen Nick Saban pull that trick many, many times in his tenure at Alabama.
And so, what are your thoughts on the spread? Do you like the points, or would you take Alabama?
I've got it at 19 in my own personal numbers, so I think it's pretty dead on the money. The one thing I'll say is I use a metaphor a lot called the freeze point. You saw it on display with Georgia, Oregon, and that is when you take these 2 or 3 elite teams, Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, some years Clemson fits this description, and you get their A- or better game, there are very few teams that can match up with them and can stand a chance against them. And if you get Alabama's A-level game and you don't meet the freeze point, meaning you don't meet that minimum baseline that it takes to compete, there's no limit to how ugly the game can get. And so if that's what we're looking at Saturday, then I know 20 looks like a big spread. It could be covered in the first quarter. It could be covered in the first half. So there's an opportunity for it to get really ugly. We got to find out how close Texas comes to that freeze point.
Well, and we're talking to Josh Pate again, 24/7 Sports Late Kick Podcast, also Late Kick Live. A couple other games to ask you about. What are your thoughts on Tennessee traveling to Pitt?
I'm not sure. So here's how I'd look at this. If I were a Tennessee fan, I would think about the ways I could lose this game. One of them is just Pitt outscores us. And I don't think that'll happen if I'm a Tennessee fan. I don't think they can straight up trade points with us. I don't think they can run the ball effectively enough. I don't think they can achieve offensive balance enough. And I don't think Keaton Slovis is a guy that's just going to straight up out-duel Hendon Hooker. So the next way we would lose would be turning the ball over like West Virginia did late in the game in week 1 and handing them a game. And so that's the fine balance. That's the tightrope you have to walk because they're going to be ultra aggressive. They're going to run as many plays per minute as any team in the country again this year, I would bet. But at the same time, you understand part of the main way Pitt would win this thing is us turning the ball over. And that's where you have to trust your guys and you have to trust your system. But I really wonder, what kind of offensive balance Pitt can have. Because I think they averaged under 2 yards per carry in week 1. And Tennessee, if there's one area they feel really good about, it is run defense against them. So I think that the matchup really favors Tennessee. Home field doesn't, obviously, but I think the matchup favors them. I think their fan base will be well represented up there, and I think Tennessee is going to end up winning. And if that number is still 6.5, I'd actually like them to cover.
I am sure Jimbo Fisher has his team's utmost attention with App State this weekend after they put up 61 against North Carolina. First of all, I don't understand how North Carolina even ended up there on the road against App State to begin with, but now they come into Kyle Field as App State. Will we see a similar result, or is Texas A&M going to be able to limit this team to not 61 points?
Oh, I believe they'll severely limit them if that's the standard. Yes. I don't know that I've ever said what I said about the North Carolina App State game last week. So we were Fayetteville. You're kind of out on another planet because I stand on the sideline the whole game. I don't go to the press box, so I'm watching any other game. So all I know is we got great Wi-Fi up there now. Credit to the folks at Arkansas because you get great reception. So I know I'm checking my phone in between breaks, in between the 37 commercial breaks during the game, and I see that they're going to the fourth quarter.
Yes.
And then the next time I check the score, the final score has popped up, and I see that App State just hung 40 and lost a game in the fourth quarter. And I said the following about the game. I never say this about a game. I don't even want to know what happened. And I put my phone back in my pocket, and I never went and watched the replay. So I know I do not think you're going to see a repeat in College Station. I actually think A&M is going to throw a crowbar in those bicycle spokes offensively a little bit.
Interesting. And then finally, Kentucky, Florida. You kind of referenced it. Billy Napier, great debut. They win in the Swamp against Utah, the perceived favorite in the Pac-12 in the preseason. Now they take on Mark Stoops' group, but they are banged up in the backfield, and they don't have Chris Rodriguez. The Gators have, had a lot of trouble historically in the Swamp. Kentucky's had a lot of trouble against the Gators in the Swamp, historically. But I was going to say Kentucky's won 2 of the last 4 against Florida. How do you see this matchup?
Well, it's kind of the same feel I have for Pitt against Tennessee. It's a home venue versus road venue, but it's the same thing. It's, can you muster enough of a ground game? Because last week, even against Miami of Ohio, Kentucky looked inept offensive on the ground. Well, here's the follow-up. The follow-up is you got a guy in Will Levis at quarterback who some people suggested could even warrant first-round consideration this upcoming draft. And I listened to all that, and I didn't necessarily contribute to that chorus, but I listened to it, and I thought to myself, okay, well, they're going to play a season this fall, so if that's true, we'll see it. Well, you know what? This is where you'll see it, because this is a game where probably a disproportionate amount of the workload will have to fall on his shoulders. You know what you've got at quarterback on the other side in Anthony Richardson. You know what you've got in the venue. You know it's a night game. You know that place is on fire right now. They're bordering on a top 10 AP ranking. So if you are of that caliber in Will Levis, you'll go in there and you'll find a way. And it'll be a game late in the fourth quarter because of you. This should be a game, if he is of that stature, that even if Kentucky barely cracks 100 yards on the ground, Will Levis has him in the game. So I lean Florida because I think that is a little bit too high of an expectation. But if I'm wrong, it'll be because of Will Levis.
Well, great stuff from Josh Pate. Intel. And where is the Josh Pate train going this weekend?
We are taking the Every Given Saturday tour to Austin, Texas. And it may be the first time in the modern era that you see me wearing a hat during the game. That's how hot I am.
Oh, wow.
At least you're not going to go to the Iowa State game this year and just fall asleep because Iowa's offense. So at least you won't have to endure that torture.
Yeah, you didn't endure 7-3 last week, Josh.
Look, I think that game's going over 20 points. So you can say whatever you want to. But
it's going over 20. Iowa State is going to score over 20. Certainly not Iowa.
Well, safe travels, sir, and continued success with your Late Kick Pod, Late Kick Live. Great stuff always. And, again, we always enjoy the conversations. Thank you for the time, and enjoy the college football weekend.
I appreciate it, guys.
Let's get a break in. When we come back, we're going to talk college football analytics style coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a wreck at Holmes and Pulaski Pike. That one's got serious injury involved, so they're going to do a full investigation on that accident. Everything else seems to be moving along in pretty good shape this morning. Heavy traffic load, though. You be careful on your ride in. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Your favorite sports book, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including college football and the NFL. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com and use the promo code WZZN. That's BetUS.com and the promo code WZZN. Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Hey there, folks. Bob Baumhauer here. We're celebrating 40 legendary years here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. And to kick this off, we're coming in hot with our all-new Alabama Hot Chicken. Fresh southern fried chicken breast smothered in a blend of tangy, immune-boosting herbs and spices with a spicy finish. Served up with a side of homemade smoked Gouda cheese grits, Miss Mary southern greens, and garlic bread. And there's plenty more where that came from. Stop in today and celebrate with us. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Tom Luganbill here from my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Hey friends, Eli Gold here for Environmental Comfort Systems. If you're concerned about the air quality inside your home, give my friend Rick Smith a call at Environmental Comfort Systems. Their indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of indoor air contaminants. Give the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems a call, or visit them online at envcomfort.com and see how comfortable you can be. Breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Coming up next, it's the Tom Abraham Show with me, Tom Abraham. Now back to more Talking Ball with Scott and Drew.
Good, happy Thursday morning. Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond holding court until 9 a.m. Great conversation there with Josh Pate. Now we're going to kind of take a different spin to kind of get you ready for the college football Saturday or the college football weekend, the NFL weekend, a lot of high school weekends. Lots of times when you see coaches on the sidelines, they are holding those color charts. And a lot of people always ask us, what do those charts look like? What do they mean? We're going to hopefully explain all that and why some coaches go for it on fourth down, why they don't go for it on fourth down, why they might go for two and not go for two. There's a plan to all of that.
There is. There's no question about it. And our next guest is basically the mastermind behind that. And his service that he provides now for coaches throughout college football and really on all levels of football is pretty interesting, and it's really kind of thought-provoking when you do the research and read about it. And Scott, I know he's about to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline.
Yeah, he is the president. He is the president of Championship Analytics. Mm-hmm. And they are the ones that help college football coaches, NFL coaches, high school coaches decide what to do.
Well, in all level of sports, in all sports now, analytics are used in some form. Yeah. And he's definitely found his niche in football.
Yeah, Mike McRoberts joining us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Mike, you're with Scott and Drew this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and very, very interesting, to say the least. Analytics has taken over the game of college football. And you and your company, Championship Analytics, really kind of leading the forefront when it comes to a lot of the analytics inside college football.
Yeah, no, it's been a really interesting journey to get us to this point. But yeah, I mean, to your point, it's really taken off in the last 5 or 6 years, and getting a lot of traction there, and certainly seeing the changes behavior in the games on Saturdays and Sundays.
Kind of explain to the listeners, you call it the book, but it's really not a book. But explain to the listeners, how you kind of sit down with these coaches and what you kind of do to kind of guide them on a Saturday.
Sure. So the book is just kind of a set of charts. It's probably best known for fourth down decision making. Mm-hmm. But really, the set of charts will change on a weekly basis, just kind of based on the situations I think, or what type of game is being played. Particularly in college football, 1 week you could be a big favorite, others you could be a big underdog. You might have an NFL quality kicker. You might have a walk-on. So all of these are just very important factors. And if you're trying to figure out, hey, should I go for this 4th and 4 at their 25-yard line or kick that field goal? You want to know or have a good feel for how good's your kicker, what's the weather like, and also what the game situation might be. So with the game charts itself, not only are we looking at what are the characteristics of that game, what are the characteristics kind of our kicking situation, but we want to know also how the game is playing out. So if you're thinking about kicking a field goal, well, it's important to know if it's in the middle of the first quarter or if it's to the start of the fourth quarter. Are we up by 3? Are we down by 1? All those can have are very important to consider, and that what's the relative value of a touchdown or a field goal at that particular point and juncture of the game. So for the book itself, it's just kind of a series of charts that kind of guides them from the first quarter down to the end of the game. And in the first quarter, it can be kind of pretty general, just because it really doesn't matter all that much if you're in a tie game and you're up by 3 or down by 3, just because there's going to be a lot more scores happening the rest of the game. But as an example, if there's 3 minutes to go in the game and you're contemplating a field goal, you've got to consider that hey, if we kick this field goal, we're going from up 3 to up 6. What can happen next? Well, the team can go down and score a touchdown, and we lose by 1. So just kind of for various times in the games, different situations that because of that relative value of that decision, definitely impact the decisions that coaches are made. So they've kind of got like one chart that they're on for every drive, but there can be 50 plus of those just depending upon time remaining and that exact score.
Well, and Mike, the neat thing about your program and in this analytics system that you came up with is our state played a crucial role in getting it all jumped off, because just reading about it and researching it, when Larry Blakeney was in his final couple years at Troy, that's the program that really got your this whole system that you came up with launched.
Yeah, no, it's really a remarkable story. I mean, I had no background in football whatsoever when I got started with this. I was just a guy watching games from the couch, as a statistician, and just watched them, watching some decisions on television. Just thought, hey, that just doesn't really match up to what I think the math would say. So I just got out of spreadsheets and just trying to do some calculations, and it's truly a situation that one thing led to another, and kind of discovered that while there are a lot of people talking about these crucial decisions, there really wasn't anybody that was delivering that information to the coaches to help them make those decisions. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of came up with this system, and that it was one thing to develop a system, but it's really hard just to call up Alabama and see if they want to do lunch or something like that, particularly when you don't have any connections. So I reached out and sent some materials out to a bunch of NFL teams, and that didn't get anywhere. So it's like, well, I'll try college, and sent them out to about 100 college teams, and got exactly one response. And as you said, that was from Troy and one of their assistant coaches there, Kenny Edenfield. And just ended up traveling down there and met with them a couple of times, and they were one and only client for the first season. And but they're just super helpful for us to just kind of get off the ground there, and it really just kind of grew from there.
Well, how many clients now has that grown to?
We have across all levels of football. We'll have like 170 this year.
Wow.
So it's kind of our sweet spot within college football. About 2/3 of the FBS program we'll use this season. A handful of NFL teams, and then we're really getting into the high school markets, and have 70, 75 of those teams this year.
Well, I've got one question to ask you. Is Florida State one of your clients?
Some schools prefer not to be identified, so I could tell you afterwards, but in general, I try to protect their privacy. So.
Well, I don't know, because I was wondering, because some of these decisions that Mike Norvell was making going for it on fourth down, I'll freely admit I haven't read the I don't know what the percentages are and the likelihood of going for it in those situations, but those couple of chances that he took seemed to be unwise, where he should have took the points, in my opinion.
So I would say to counter that, you look at the end of that game, and sometimes people just assume that an extra point is going to be made, and that goes for field goals as well, and that right. The LSU extra point, people just kind of, and that's the thing, is that sometimes if you're talking about a 35, 40-yard field goal, in college, the make rate on that might be in the 70, 75% range, and there's also kind of a wide variety of kickers as well. And I think that the general public may not always focus as much on that, is that the NFL, it's generally a fair assumption that a kick will be made, but in college football, not so much. The other thing that I think is, I know he was kind of the first half, I think he had a 4th and 2, like in the LSU territory. But the other thing is that, 4th and short, kind of, deep in opponent territory, while, yes, you can kind of assume those field goals can be made, but even if they aren't, or if you go for it and you miss, there's a lot of value in sticking your opponents deep in their own territory. So if they're starting that next drive, particularly inside their 5 or inside their 10-yard line, that's a nice little silver lining there for missing on a 4th and 2. I know it's not going to convince everyone, but the math does generally favor 4th and 2, 4th and 3 from the 4th and goal from the 3. That's a tough one for coaches to take on. But yeah, even if it's a 43% chance, like some quick math, 7 times 0.43% is basically 3. Plus hey, if you miss, you're sticking your opponent at the 3-yard line. So that's a tough one for coaches to pull the trigger on, and fans may not absorb that very well if they miss. But something like that is generally the mathematical play.
Has this changed how you watch college football?
I've always watched it that way, and I think to a certain extent, not having any background really with coaching or playing myself, that's just kind of how I've always viewed the game. And I think it's just helped to have kind of a different perspective than the average coach might. I've always felt that, or just like from hanging around with coaches, is that the disadvantage that they have is that on a given Saturday, they might be, they're of course coaching their one game, let's say they have like a 3:30 game or something like that. They're not watching any games before that. Maybe they'll watch Pac-12 After Dark or something when they get home to wind down. But they're really not watching a lot of football the way that the average fans do, whereas, we're sitting around on a Saturday afternoon, switching back and forth with channels, watching 30, 40 games. So, we're watching end of games and, tight games and really kind of getting a feel for the strategy of those games. Where I think in a lot of respects, coaches have their one game, like during the week, they're just kind of, grinding on tape. And it's fair. Hey, how do we get the ball downfield versus, an SEC team? That's a tough assignment. But from just, kind of an overall strategy and like, hey, how do we, manage our timeouts and the game situations, things, 4th downs, things of this nature. It's really not, they're not watching a lot of football from that same perspective that, someone like myself or kind of the average fan would be.
No doubt about it. And how I know it's been only a little under a decade, Mike, but how much more do you see this growing? It's really kind of taken off quickly, though.
Yeah, it has, and I think it's just, I think just every year coaches are kind of buying into it just a little bit more, and something like going for it on 4th and 1 in their own territory. A decade ago, that would have been practically unheard of.
Right.
Nowadays, you'll see that coaches are still kind of cautious about it, and there's certainly something that, hey, once we get over the midfield stripe, we feel more comfortable with doing it. But it's certainly not crazy to see someone going for it, on their own, 30, 35-yard line in a 4th and short situation. So, I think you always have, like with any profession, you've always got the people that are, kind of willing to put their necks out there first, and others are like, hey, if this guy is doing it, I understand the logic behind it. I'm more comfortable, doing it after that. So it's kind of like, the shift in baseball that, a few years ago it was a handful of teams were doing it, and then you had a few more and a few more, and then, now today you can't go to a game without seeing the, third baseman in short right field, just, every other batter. And I think eventually it'll just kind of become an accepted part of the game.
Yeah, 13 of the 25 teams in the college football playoff last year in the rankings used this. 11 of the 20 teams that played in conference championship games used the analytics. And, those are pretty good numbers considering that you had one, and that was Troy on the very beginning.
Yeah, no, it's been a remarkable journey, and like I said, when I started this, I really didn't have any expectations from it, and I really can't believe this is kind of how it turned out. It's been pretty awesome.
Yeah, when you sit down, what is when you sit down with these coaches and you sit down in the room, what's one of the things that they ask? How does that go? what are some of the feedback and the questions that the coaches have for you when they sit down to try to talk these analytics?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. We try to talk to them every off season, and go. I mean, there's no feedback like just kind of walking through their season and saying, hey, here's what we recommended, here's what you did. Sometimes you followed along and it worked out. Sometimes you followed along and it didn't. Sometimes you didn't follow what we did, and but really just kind of walking through those scenarios and providing that feedback. But really, I mean, I think in general the coaches have been fantastic and very receptive to what we have to say. They really don't give us a lot of pushback on the stats or anything along those lines. Certainly there's just things that make them uncomfortable. Just talking about the 4th and 1s in their own territory, and it's easy enough to talk about, but if you go for it on 4th and 1 in your own territory, actually I remember that from our first ever meeting with Troy, and that gave me some good insights. And that where I was talking about like, hey, 4th and 1 at your own 20 might be a go. Well, and I remember him looking at me and saying like, hey, that's all well and good, but if I go for this and miss and we give up a touchdown, like I'm going to be on the next train out of town. And I'm thinking, your name's on the field out there. Is this true? But it kind of gave me some insight in that, you really have to, kind of get in the mind of the coach and kind of put yourself in their shoes, and that, while the math may recommend this, that, it's not always the easiest thing to pull the trigger, in various situations.
Well, Mike, how do you see this system? Are you going to continue to, expand it? How does it grow?
Yeah, I mean, we're always adding, new features, every season just to, it's a series of charts. So, what can we continue to do just to kind of, make those recommendations, more precise, and, can we cover some, kind of some unique situations? So, it's not just kind of the 4th downs, but, also it's, end of game situations. Should we let them score a touchdown? Should we, when can we take a knee and things of that nature? But I think really the, kind of the big thing that we work on with our coaches now and what we've kind of recognized is just, the big thing is just, kind of making this an educational process, in that it's one thing that's like, hey, just because there's a dot on the page that says, go for this or let them score a touchdown or go for 2 here or whatever the case might be, they need to understand, why that dot exists, understand the logic behind it, have thought about it ahead of time, such that, when that situation comes up with, 70,000 people screaming in their ears, that's, something that they're comfortable with doing. So I think that's what we're always probably focused on moving forward the most, is just, hey, how can we kind of get them to buy in on the logic, understand why we're recommending what we are, and help them feel comfortable, pulling the trigger on those choices that should help them win more often.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Well, great stuff, Mike. Congratulations on all your success. I mean, it's been it's grown exponentially since that meeting with Kenny Edenfield in 2013 at the Troy Trojans, and it continues to on really all levels of football. But it's been an amazing rise for you, and I guess it changes the way people watch football sometimes on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. But congratulations and continued success, man. We appreciate the time.
All right, awesome. Thanks, guys, for having me on.
All right, thanks. Mike McRoberts there. Interesting stuff if you want to know about college analytics.
Yeah.
I mean, now you know when the coaches have those charts on the sidelines and they're colored and what to do on 4th down, lots of times this is the guy sitting at home that created that for them to use. One guy created all that. All right, let's get a break in. Tomorrow's headlines today when we come back.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
They've got a lane blocked off northbound on the Parkway at Mountain Gap. Had an injury accident there they're trying to clear. Pulaski, Pike, and Holmes had a serious injury. They've been doing a full investigation on that one. And we just had a dispatch of a number of fire units to the 900 block of Bob Wallace on an automatic alarm. First unit on the scene's reporting nothing showing. From routine care to heart failure, Dr. Randall Burns and the team in Huntsville Heart Specialists have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
This week on RVER, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. I'm sorry, I can't operate on that vehicle.
But doctor, you took an oath.
That RV, it's my son's RV.
Oh, doctor, isn't there anything you can
I'm not a miracle worker, Sheila. I'm an RV surgeon, trained to save the lives of large injured recreational vehicles, which is definitely a real profession.
When your RV really needs saving, Progressive has you covered. See if you could save with a leader in RV insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, covered subject to policy terms.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Touchdown, Alabama! No look pass inside, ready to go to play.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And Kirby Smart keeps falling and falling and falling down the list of highest paid coaches in America. Dabo Swinney, Clemson has just approved a new contract for the head coach, 10 years, $115 million for an average of $11.5 million. That vaults Dabo back to second nationally behind Nick Saban for the highest paid college football coaches in America. And it all started last fall with Mel Tucker getting his deal, and then now everybody else has cashed in. The latest this morning is Dabo Swinney, now the second highest paid college football coach in America.
Yeah, he's won 2 national championships. He's beat Nick Saban on a couple of opportunities in 16 and 18, and so we'll see if his team can continue to get better. They looked okay against Georgia Tech. I wouldn't say they look like a national championship contender quite yet, but again, Josh Pate made an interesting observation. You don't want to make assumptions yet about a team. You just want to see them develop, just observations, seeing things they need to work on. We'll see if DJ Uiagalelei can become an elite player. I don't think he is right now, but certainly Clemson has a lot of talent still. I would still be a little bit leery of their running game. Wasn't the greatest I've seen against Georgia Tech, but again, they will. There's going to be tests coming up for them for Clemson, certainly in the future. But locking up Dabo Swinney, and I know there's a lot of people that continue to speculate as to whether or not he would be on the short list when Nick Saban retired, but I don't think Nick Saban's anywhere close to doing that. And Clemson certainly taking care of Dabo and his staff, and
you're not going to pay him a whole lot more to come down. I mean, you can't.
Yeah,
what are you going to do?
And then now it's going to be interesting to see if the ACC can hold on to Clemson. I certainly think Clemson would rather navigate the ACC than have to take on the SEC. But it's all about the money.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've already gone over it ad nauseum. The ACC television rights, the deal that they get from wherever it is, ESPN or whatever, it's only a third of what the SEC and now what the Big Ten get. I mean, they're, $47 million annually, where the SEC gets anywhere between 75 to 80, and the Big Ten is going to get close to $100 million a year. So, yeah, all these schools in the ACC. I mean, who would not want out of that conference if you can say you're going to get $40 million more by going to another conference? I mean, Clemson could navigate the SEC. I think Clemson could. If Clemson moved into the SEC, they would navigate that a whole lot better than Notre Dame.
Well, I think they could, but they would have to be in the East. They would not be able to. They would not vault to the top of the West.
Both of them would have to be in the East, though, right? I mean,
to win a championship,
if Clemson and Notre Dame both came into the league,
because I'm just telling you,
who would fare better?
I think both of them would have a big adjustment because both of them, Notre Dame plays a national schedule, but I think it's still weak sauce. And then when you talk about Clemson, we've talked about this for years, Clemson and the Clowns. And right now the ACC is a clown conference, without question.
What is not a clown conference is the NL East.
Nope.
That is coming down at both. The Mets have a doubleheader yesterday.
Mets swept it. They got a half-game lead.
And the Braves get a win yesterday against the A's. So, I mean, really nothing changes there. I mean, that half game is a percentage point because the Mets had 2 yesterday. The Braves had 1. So a game in tow there for the Mets. But the Braves will be back at it again. Mets will be back at it again. This isn't going anywhere. This is going to come down probably to the end, and I think they have some more games against each other coming up.
They do. They're going to be in Atlanta. I mean, everything they've already played over in the crap hole. So, they've and of course the Met fans thought that it basically was over, a month ago, but it's not. It's going to be down to the wire. Mets have a really good ball club, so do the Braves, but the Braves have twice kind of gotten up off the mat. They were down 10.5 games just several weeks ago in the division, and now they've come back. They're within a half game. They had tied it temporarily, but
June 1st.
The Braves in great shape now to still have a shot to win a 5th straight division championship.
All right, you ready for this one? The Mets, they had that 10.5 game lead on June 1st.
Yeah.
Okay. The only team so far, because the Mets haven't, season's not over yet, so they haven't blown it and lost it yet. But the only team so far in the divisional era to lose a 10-plus game lead in the